Hello and welcome to CJB Games. Today I'm happy to share with you the second devlog for Groundskeeping, a first-person multiplayer hotel maintenance horror game. So to get started today, the first thing we'll be doing is setting up a damage system for the players, which means we need a prototype enemy first. So for the visuals, I just basically made a static mesh, just a block, and gave it some height to make it a bit more scary, and obviously the red texture on it to also symbolise danger from it. I know in my sprint I didn't specify making an enemy, or really just being damaged by anything, but I kind of use these sprints as a rough guideline rather than a rigid thing I have to stick to. I also think that, adding these extra little things here and there will just improve the playthrough I do at the end of each sprint. So the enemy's look is done now. Obviously it's just a prototype, so it's very simple, and now I can move on to the code behind the enemy. Basically made some simple blueprints which meant it could damage the player and also that it could patrol an area of my choosing. I just have to put the coordinates in. It won't notice or follow the player as of yet because it's not really needed, and I'm not too sure exactly how to get that working with multiplayer, but that will come in time. So now we can actually test if the player takes damage, and as we can see it will turn the player to pitch black as it does, which signifies they're dead, and it does appear working for now. Also it stops movement input from the player once you get hurt. After a bit more practice, however, I found out that it wasn't actually working in multiplayer that well. So, because obviously the whole multiplayer aspect's a bit more new to me, I had to basically do a bit more research. But eventually it worked, and it's in a state now where you can get damaged, which will stop you from moving, but you can still look around, because obviously I don't want it to throw you out the game immediately because of more people playing. While we're on the topic of the enemy for the game, I got the design back from the concept artist. I have to say, I really love it. And I feel like once it's made in 3D and actually in the game and moving and all that, it'll be very imposing, and it'll give the game that much needed feeling of dread. So another quick thing I wanted to add that wasn't in the sprint is a placeholder HUD. This is not going to have any functionality to it at all, it's just going to be something that's on the screen as of now, just as sort of a reminder of what I want there to be eventually. It's going to be a similar design to the Minecraft menu. Apart from you're not going to be able to open an inventory, the inventory is just always at the bottom of the screen, and it will just help players recall items that they need or pick items up and throw items away. Finally, after a lot of groundwork has been completed with the code and the setting up of the project, we can move on to the first art-orientated task of the project, whiteboxing the environment. Firstly, like most things, I did a little research into other examples that can help me work. The main part of the game will take place in a rustic bed and breakfast type pub, so I wanted to keep that in mind when looking at other existing blueprints. Now that I have a better understanding, I can begin working on my own blueprint, which will then help me whitebox. It doesn't have to look too great, as it will only be used briefly, and it's mainly for scale and layout of the rooms and what rooms are needed. I didn't end up doing a blueprint for the entire map, mainly because it was taking a long time, and also the main focus point is the ground floor of the pub, so as long as I got that done, it was fine by me. I've also decided to name the pub the Red Pig Inn. I just picked the name out of thin air, so it might change in the future, but for now it's the Red Pig Inn. So with the blueprint complete, now comes the most time-consuming part of this sprint, creating the whitebox in-engine. I'm using basic shapes for this, and some basic colours so that different objects can be told apart, like the walls, floor, pavement, grass, all that sort of stuff. I made sure to constantly play it now and then to see if the scale was okay and see if you could walk up certain things. Progress was going well, but unfortunately, after nearly spending an hour making it, the inevitable happened and Unreal Engine crashed. And as we can see, I lost a fair amount of work. But it's okay, I'm sure I can get it back and make it better next time, but it still does sting. I'll just let this be a lesson to me that I should save a lot more frequently. And on that unfortunate note, I'll leave the project for today and continue it with another day. Thanks for watching guys, like and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the development process, and I shall see you all next time.